So if any of that's active in the body, it's important to find out why it's there. So I'm going to give you a story of two brothers. One's SickSteve and one's HealthyHarry. They're brothers. SickSteve likes meat and coffee and sugar and likes to have alcohol every night, doesn't exercise. HealthyHarry, his brother, who lives in the other end of the house, he's a surfer, he's a landscaper, exercises every day. And SickSteve says to HealthyHarry, "You've taken all the fun out of life." And I want to have a look at fun, because life should be good. One day, Cousin Colin visits, and Cousin Colin has got a bad cold. Let's make it appropriate for today. Let's call it COVID, because that's all I think it is. It's a different strain of the flu or cold. And remember what it is? COVID is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that arise because of a violation of the laws of health. So Cousin Colin comes in and sneezes just as he's shaking SickSteve's hand. Have you seen what happens when a sneeze happens? Little droplets come out with little bits of bacteria and yeast and fungus is all busy in the house cleaning Cousin Colin, and they land on SickSteve, breathes them in. They come into SickSteve's body and they go, "Yippee, there's a feast in here." What do they eat? Cell damage. You see, Steve's a smoker. And those lungs got a lot of damage in them. That's why every smoker coughs up yellow lumps. It's the white blood cells trying to clean up the damage. Then HealthyHarry comes into the room. Shakes hand. "Hi, mate." That's what we say in Australia. "How you going, mate?" "Good, thanks, mate." "Oh, sorry," sneezes all over him. They jump into SickSteve. There's nothing to eat. Sorry, HealthyHarry. There's nothing to eat in HealthyHarry's body, because our body is a self-cleansing organism. And when we exercise every day, when we drink adequate water, nutrition, have early nights, that self-cleansing organism, and we'll look in another lecture where it throws off the waste. It's an amazing creation that we live in. But let's say HealthyHarry has just been to Hawaii on a surfing holiday, couldn't eat as well as he usually does, was on the plane for a long time and it was rocky in the air, so he couldn't get out of his seat to get water. The fumes from the plane aren't great. So maybe when Cousin Colin sneezes on HealthyHarry, those microbes have got a little bit of something here and there to do. By the end of the day, SickSteve is sick. Sore throat, runny nose. He says, "That rotten cousin of mine, he's given me his bug." Isn't that what we say? "I've caught the bug." So he has a couple of Jack Daniels to help him sleep. Closes the window, doesn't want a draft. SickSteve, on the other hand, he's got a little bit of a sore throat. HealthyHarry. HealthyHarry, on the other hand, he's got a bit of a sore throat. He calls in the SWAT team. What's the SWAT team? He goes to the gym, does an intense workout, goes in the steam sauna, sweats out. That's a great way to get rid of waste. Dives in the cool pool, back in the hot steam. Goes home, decides not to have anything to eat that night, because when you stop digestion, the body's energies go into healing, as we'll also look at. And he has a flu bomb, and you'll get the recipe for the flu bomb. It's grated ginger and grated garlic and lemon and honey and eucalyptus oil and cayenne pepper and a bit of hot water. Woo, it's potent. That's God's antibiotic drink. Throws it down, goes to sleep, piles the blankets up on him, wakes up in the morning, his sheets are wet, his pajamas are wet. Whoa, he's had a great sweat that night. Gets up, has a nice big draught of water, a bit of Celtic salt, a bit more water. He believes in the great God of heaven, prays, has another drink of water, and then goes and does his high intensity up and down the hills. SickSteve thinks he's mad because SickSteve just stays in bed. Has a nice hot cup of coffee, the hot drink's nice on his throat. Throws down a couple of painkillers. SickSteve comes back from his walk, has a hot and cold shower. Sorry, get it right. Healthy Harry comes back from his walk feeling great. Just keeping you on your toes. Yeah. He has his antibiotic sandwich for breakfast. He has some fresh fruit. And then he has some seeds and nuts. Then he has a slice of sourdough spelt bread, olive oil, crushed clove of garlic over the whole slice, avocado and tomato on top, calms it down. Oh, cayenne pepper in there too. He has two of his antibiotic sandwiches and he's feeling good. And he goes to work. No one comes near him that day. It's perfectly fine because his breath is almost... It's almost been purified from the garlic. They're going, oh, what have you done, Healthy Harry? He said, it's all right. I'm protecting you with my my strong garlic. He said, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be here. They say, okay, you just work in that corner of the garden today. Let's go back to SickSteve. Oh, he's miserable. So he calls his favourite doctor. It took him a while to find this doctor. He loves this doctor. He never asks uncomfortable questions like, are you still smoking? He just goes in and he almost puts his pen up with the script. Hi, Steve. What's your problem? He said, oh, my rotten cousin gave me his wog, gave me his bug. He listens to his chest with a stethoscope. I almost said binoculars. I knew it was something there. With the stethoscope. And the doctor says, whoa, there's a party going on in there. And there is. They've just multiplied out of control because there's a feast in there. Remember what the feast is? The Danny. He says, oh, mate, you got it bad. Take this course of antibiotics. Thanks, Doc. I knew I could depend on you. Goes home while he's smoking his cigarettes. Remember, keeps the window shut, gets into bed, has his drugs there and his hot coffees and takes his antibiotics. Still eats. Still has lots to eat. This happens regularly over the next few years. 10 years later, SickSteve is now 40 and he starts coughing up blood. Goes to the doctor. Whoa, he's got lung cancer. Goes home. Healthy Harry says, what's the matter, mate? He said, I've just found out I've got lung cancer. And the doctor wants to do the slash, poison and burn. Surgery, chemo and radiotherapy. In 20 years, will they look back and say we're in the dark ages? Did you know more people die from chemo than actually cancer? Yeah. And Healthy Harry says to SickSteve, Steve, let me shout you 2 weeks at this health retreat. 2 weeks for you to consider your options. That's the best thing to say. You'll have time to think, you'll have a little break to consider your options. Okay, says SickSteve. He goes, he hears this lecture, he runs into his room, he gets the cigarettes and he throws them in the fire. He says, anything you tell me to do, I will do. Sometimes it's too late, sometimes it's not. But you do the best you can. So if someone comes to me with cancer, I say, we see 3 outcomes. Sometimes we see turnarounds. We had a guy do our program. He said, I'm here because I met a man in the street who told me that he had cancer. He came to Misty Mountain and it's gone. Now, we didn't hear that story. Sometimes we see turnarounds. Sometimes we see 6 months go to 3 years. And sometimes we see the last days made more comfortable. Now that's a very good thing to say to people. Can you see you're not promising them anything? And you're being realistic, but kind. And we've had some people die, and they came very advanced. But their wife or their husband rings us a month later to tell us that they've passed. And you know what they always say? Thank you. Thank you. Because we had such an enjoyable week, and what we learnt to do there made his last days made more comfortable, so he died with dignity. One lady came to us and she said, I haven't got long to live. I've only got a month to live. She said, I am on chemotherapy for palliative care. I said, do you know what palliative care means? It means making the last days more comfortable. Does chemo do that? The hair falls out, vomiting, diarrhea, and one lady told me all her fingernails went black. I don't consider that palliative care. But even in this case, when I said to her, do you know what palliative care means? And I said, and this chemo, what it's doing, I said, but it's your choice. She chose to stop. She chose to stop. You see, sometimes the doctor says it'll give you 6 more months. Well, when they've advanced cancer, I don't know whether you want 6 more months. And that 6 months, what sort of life is it when you've got diarrhea and vomiting and your hair's falling out? And that's why the only hope of better things is the education of people in right principles.